Hello everybody, today you're here because you want to learn how to make drones, and I will show you one of the 1,000 different ways you can do that. So I've set just a couple of things. So I have Oscillator 1 in WaveScan. I want to show you the waves I used. So they are all the first of their category, because they have a lower harmonic content, which we will add using the Mutants. So to hear them, these are the waves I chose for Oscillator 1, and I've copied the setting to Oscillator 2 using save and clicking 1 and then 2. And I want to also talk about the Lfos. For drones, I usually want one LFO for everything, so the trig sync should be off. This way it doesn't reset every time you play a new note. And I also chose a very slow rate in sample and hold with a very high smooth, so every 10 seconds we will have one new value, and the LFO will smooth to that value, and it will do random paths. So it will not be very predictable, and that's exactly what I want. And since the WaveScan is set to the minimum for both oscillators, I set LFO5 in a unipolar way to modulate the WaveScan from low to high for both Oscillator 1 and Oscillator 2. This is all I set up for now. So you can hear that it's very slowly changing the wave. And what we can do furthermore is use another LFO in sample and hold 2. And what I want to do is make a difference between oscillator 1 and 2. And we can achieve this by placing another LFO on the WaveScan of only one of the two. So now we should hear two different signals with different waves. I also set this macro, pan, to spread the signal of oscillator 1 and 2, left and right. So. And now, remember LFO4 is modulating the WaveScan of oscillator 2 on top of LFO5. So LFO5 is giving a single value to both of them, but LFO4 is changing oscillator 2's value. And now if I turn down the level of LFO4, I can control it using this macro, which I called Binaural because it will change the value of the wave from left to right, giving a difference in the two signals, hence giving the stereo field. And if I turn it down, all is in mono. So now let's go to the Mutants and let's play with them. So I've set them to be the same things for both oscillators, and I want FM from a sine wave, so we can play with the ratio. If now I turn up the dry wet, we can hear only. To make it more clear, let's turn down oscillator 2 and let's put oscillator 1 in the center. then let's copy these settings from Mutant 1 to Mutant 3, so the two oscillators have the same parameters. And now I will use LFO3, which is of course sample and hold, to modulate slightly the ratio, because when the ratio is just a bit off, we will have those nice beatings. Let's do it now. So the ratio, just a tiny bit, both for Mutant 1 and for Mutant 3. Maybe with different values, so left and right are always a tiny bit off. Or we could set them to the same exact value. Sometimes it's hard to set the values you want. Okay. And now the binaural is going to change the ratio modulation. So if I want this one to go the opposite direction, it will be minus 1.2 to go to 0, and minus 1.2 again to make them opposite modulation. So destination 5, let's set here destination 5, minus 2.4. And I also want to assign maybe not the feedback, but the depth to this macro. So Mutant 1 depth and Mutant 3 depth. Let's change the name. FM. Okay, let's play with Mutant 2 and then copy the settings to Mutant 4. I'd like to use again the trick of the ratio, so we're gonna use the Oscillator Sync. And we're gonna use another LFO to play with the ratio, just slightly. And I wanna copy these settings for Mutant 4 as well. Doesn't need to be the exact same, so we will have a little bit of difference in the 2 ears. And we can use the same trick from before, so destination 7, I wanna map this macro to that. Just a small difference. And now I'd like to map the depth of this thing. So let's copy mutant 2 to mutant 4. And I want to use this macro, which I called electric, to modulate the depth of both. Okay, let's turn up again Oscillator 2 and let's spread them. I'm liking the timbre of this. I believe I also set up some noise, but very slightly. We can use the amp envelope now to give it some release. And maybe turn up Oscillator 3 as well. Okay, we can play with the filter. Oh, sorry, I said this thing earlier and I forgot to turn it off. Filter 1. Sometimes I like to use the vowel type, because modulating control, cutoff and resonance, you can achieve very nice results. But not this time. I'll use... maybe let's try one that I never use. This feels too kind of neutral. Okay, I like this one. And since LFO1 is low in sample and hold, we could map this to the filter. Let's turn up some resonance, and I want to also use some drive. I want to turn up random phase, so the oscillator will play in the background, and every time you hit a note, it will start from the value it had in the background. This doesn't really matter because there is a long attack in the amp envelope. And another thing I want to show you is if you go to the arpeggiator and turn the tempo really low and the division to the minimum, you can play with the gate. If you use a random mode for the note, you can latch, for example, a chord or some notes, and they will play indefinitely, slowly, one at a time, and in a random order. Since the sound is a bit dark, I want to use the two filters in parallel with the different modulations to give more movement. So filter 2. Modulated from LFO2 is okay. And maybe it would be more focused in the mid-high range. No, I prefer it as a low pass. Anyway, you can hear we have already what feels like a drone. Another thing we can do is turn up some ring modulation. First some FM and some hard sync. And the ring could come from oscillator 1 and 2, but also from the Mutants. And I want to map this value to a macro. Then, for the pre-effects, I already set up some tremolo. And I want to turn the depth and rate down. So that I can use some macros. So this is the depth, and this is the rate. If I set them right. It's the pre-effects, parameter 2, which is the depth, and parameter 1, which is the rate. So pre-effects, parameter 1 is the rate. Yes. And I really feel the urge to place an LFO on the rate. Maybe LFO2, which is a sine wave. Or no, I prefer a random LFO. Now, on top of the tremolo, we can add some delay. Maybe LRC delay. With some feedback. A high feed tone will dampen the feedback every time it repeats. So if you use a high feedback, you should higher up the feed tone. For the reverb, it sounds okay, but I want to use an external reverb, so let's turn it off for now. And in the post effects, oh, I'm sorry, this was active for the whole time. I'm sorry about that. What I wanted to do is also to set the LFO to a macro. With no aliasing, so turning up the sampling frequency. And now you could play with the resonance and the cutoff. Using, of course, an LFO for that. So, post effects, parameter 1 is the cutoff. And the dry wet, halfway there probably. Now, since I bought it, let's use an external reverb. And play with the macros. Another thing I can do is assign an oscillator, an Lfos, sorry, to the send of the two filters for oscillator 1 and another LFO for oscillator 2. And since they are different, the modulations will be different. And now binaural could map to destination 11 and 12. Destination 11 and destination 12. And we get this beautiful drone. Them to overlap, so I'm turning the gate percentage up. This way the tail of the release is going to play with the attack of the new note. And the activate latch to end the last note. Alright, I hope this was useful for at least some of you. If it was, let me know in the comments, and I'll see you soon. Bye!